St. John Baptist, by William Drummond. The last and greatest herald of heaven's king, girt with rough skins, hies to the deserts wild, among that savage brood the woods forth bring, which he more harmless found than man, and mild. His food was locusts, and what there doth spring, with honey that from virgin hives distilled, parched body, hollow eyes, some uncouth thing made him appear, long since from earth exiled. There burst he forth, all ye, whose hopes rely on God, with me amidst these deserts mourn, repent, repent, and from old errors turn. Who listened to his voice, obeyed his cry. Only the echoes, which he made relent, wrung from their flinty caves, repent. Repent. Madrigal, by William Drummond. My thoughts hold mortal strife, I do detest my life, and with lamenting cries peace to my soul to bring oft call that prince which here doth monarchize, but he, grim grinning king, who caitiff scorns, and doth the blessed surprise, late having decked with beauty's rose his tomb, disdains to crop a weed, and will not come. Life, by William Drummond. This life, which seems so fair, is like a bubble blown up in the air by sporting children's breath, who chase it everywhere and strive who can most motion it bequeath, and though it sometimes seem of its own might like to an eye of gold to be fixed there, and firm to hover in that empty height, that only is because it is so light. But in that pomp it doth not long appear, for when 'tis most admired, in a thought, because it erst was not, it turns to naught. Human Folly, by William Drummond. Of this fair volume which we world do name, if we the sheets and leaves could turn with care, of him who it corrects, and did it frame, we clear might read the art and wisdom rare, find out his power which wildest powers doth tame, his providence extending everywhere, his justice which proud rebels doth not spare, in every page, no period of the same. But silly we, like foolish children, rest well pleased with colored vellum, leaves of gold, fair dangling rib bands, leaving what is best, on the great writer's sense ne'er taking hold, or if by chance we stay our minds on aught, it is some picture on the margin wrought. The Problem, by William Drummond. Doth then the world go thus, doth all thus move? Is this the justice which on earth we find? Is this that firm decree which all doth bind? Are these your influences, powers above? Those souls which vice's moody mists most blind, blind fortune, blindly, most their friend doth prove, and they who thee, poor idle virtue, love, ply like a feather tossed by storm and wind. Ah! If a providence doth sway this all, why should best minds groan under most distress, or why should pride humility make thrall, and injuries the innocent oppress? Heavens! Hinder, stop this fate, or grant a time when good may have, as well as bad, their prime.
To His Lute, by William Drummond. My lute, be as thou wert when thou didst grow with thy green mother in some shady grove, when immolodious winds but made thee move, and birds their ramage did on thee bestow. Since that dear voice which did thy sounds approve, which wont in such harmonious strains to flow, is reft from earth to tune those spheres above, what art thou, but a harbinger of woe? Thy pleasing notes be pleasing notes no more, but orphans' wailings to the fainting ear, each stroke a sigh, each sound draws forth a tear, for which be silent as in woods before, or if that any hand to touch thee deign, like widowed turtle still her loss complain. For the Magdalene, by William Drummond. These eyes, dear Lord, once brandons of desire, frail scouts betraying what they had to keep, which their own heart, then others set on fire, their trait rouse black before thee here out weep, these locks, of blushing deeds the gilt attire, waves curling, rackful shelves to shadow deep, rings wedding souls to sin's lethargic sleep, to touch thy sacred feet do now aspire. In seas of care behold a sinking bark, by winds of sharp remorse unto thee driven, oh let me not be ruin's aimed at mark. My faults confessed, Lord, say, they are forgiven. Thus sighed to Jesus the Bethanian fair, his tear-wet feet still drying with her hair. Content and Resolute, by William Drummond. As when it happeneth that some lovely town unto a barbarous besieger falls, who there by sword and flame himself installs, and, cruel, it in tears and blood doth drown, her beauty spoiled, her citizens made thralls, his spite yet so cannot her all throw down, but that some statue, arch, fain of renown yet lurks unmaimed within her weeping walls, so, after all the spoil, disgrace, and wrack, that time, the world, and death, could bring combined, amidst that mass of ruins they did make, safe and all scarless yet remains my mind. From this so high transcending rapture springs, that I, all else defaced, not envy kings. Alexis, here she stayed, among these pines, by William Drummond. Alexis, here she stayed, among these pines, sweet hermitress, she did alone repair, here did she spread the treasure of her hair, more rich than that brought from the Colchian mines, she set her by these musked eglantines. The happy place the prince seems yet to bear, her voice did sweeten here thy sugared lines, to which wines, trees, beasts, birds, did lend their ear, me here she first perceived, and here a morn of bright carnations did o'erspread her face, here did she sigh, here first my hopes were born, and I first got a pledge of promised grace, but ah! What served it to be happy so, sith past pleasures double but new woe? Summons to Love, by William Drummond. Phoebus, arise, and paint the sable skies with azure, white, and red, rouse Memnon's mother from her Tithon's bed that she may thy career with roses spread, the nightingales thy coming each where sing, make an eternal spring. Give life to this dark world which lieth dead, spread forth thy golden hair in larger locks than thou wast wont before, and emperor-like decor with diadem of pearl thy temples fair, chase hence the ugly night which serves but to make dear thy glorious light. This is that happy morn, that day, long-wished day of all my life so dark, if cruel stars have not my ruin sworn and fates my hopes betray, which, purely white, deserves an everlasting diamond should it mark. This is the morn should bring unto this grove my love, to hear and recompense my love. Fair king, who all preserves, but show thy blushing beams, and thou too sweeter eyes shalt see than those which by Peneus streams did once thy heart surprise. Now, Flora, deck thyself in fairest guise, if that ye winds would hear a voice surpassing far Amphion's lyre, your furious chiding stay, let Zephyr only breathe, and with her tresses play. The winds all silent are, and Phoebus in his chair in saffroning sea and air makes vanish every star, night like a drunkard reels beyond the hills, to shun his flaming wheels, the fields with flowers are decked in every hue, the clouds with orient gold spangle their blue, here is the pleasant place, and nothing wanting is, save she, alas!